Well, I spoke a little earlier this evening to Austria's Foreign Minister, Karin Kneissl. I began by asking her if there's any point in Theresa May touring Europe trying to win support for a Brexit plan if Michel Barnier had already dismissed it.
Well, I think that, of course, we have this direct negotiation part between Commissioner Michel Barnier and the British government. But on the other side, I think it's also always useful to have this bilateral diplomacy through Madam Prime Minister Theresa May taking place. And it's about identifying the one or the other topic that, in that case now, with her visit in Salzburg to meet the EU chair, to meet Chancellor Sebastian Kurz, that can serve from time to time.
Your Chancellor has said today to Theresa May that he is actually keen for a deal. But our own Trade Secretary is saying that the EU is turning them down at every turn. And so therefore the possibility is that there won't be a deal.
Well, there have been already also the one or the other arrangements going on in simply preparing for the unprepared in terms of what happens if there is no agreement. I mean, everybody is preparing for different scenarios, which is useful because you always have to think in life in scenarios, not only put your eggs in one basket. But what I think, and I'm not involved in these negotiations, to a certain extent is also part of tactics in negotiations. But I don't have insight because I'm not part of any negotiation team, but from my own experience I might state this might be part of negotiation tactics. Even so, I may add the topic is so important that one should not be put too much on tactics, but have a strategy.
But do you, as your country's Minister for Foreign Affairs, have sympathy with Theresa May? Because you came to power on the back of the migration issue, and the migration issue was a key issue for Theresa May in the Brexit vote.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you might have the one or the other sympathy, but I think we really speak of hardcore interests. And when it comes to customs union and when it comes to issues like tariffs, etc., and the Irish question, this is something that that has to be decided by London, in its internal politics, and of course on the other side by the United 27. And here empathy, sympathy or whatever is not so, should not enter so much. When I met previous Brexit Minister David Davis and Boris Johnson, I always stated what counts for us as Austrian government and as chair is a pragmatic approach. It has to function. I personally, as Karin Kneissl, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, I've never become, I never was at any moment pathetic about the whole topic. It has to be a feasible contract that can be put at work, so that on 29th of May, 30th of May, if the whole time schedule is kept the way it was designed, that we do have then predictability.
Right, so that means, I think what you're saying in a sense is, you want something that's practical, it's not disorderly. But what you also seem to be saying in this interview is that as far as the 27 countries are concerned, what Michel Barnier says goes.
Exactly. I mean, he was appointed to be the voice, the negotiator of the remaining European Union. And here the core interests are economic interests.
So, on the point of negotiation, you just mentioned Boris Johnson, and in the past you said that you were a fan of Boris Johnson's when he was Foreign Secretary. Do you think that he would make a better job of the negotiations with Michel Barnier and Theresa May?
I've never seen Boris Johnson. Yeah, it's not up to me to interfere here in any way in internal British politics, really. What is our position? It has to happen, it has to work. That's what I stated in my encounters with David Davis and with Boris Johnson in the past. Dominic Raab and Jeremy Hunt might see me in the next few days And the message to be repeated is it has to work. So it's a pragmatic approach.
Karin Kneissl, thank you very much for joining us.